Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. If you've not seen me before, my name is Abby the Mindset Fairy, and I'm here to help you provide you with guidance on how to turn your dreams into a reality. If you have seen me before, then welcome back. So today's message might be a little bit difficult to swallow for a lot of people. It's not something that I've been thinking about how to phrase this one for a while. So first of all, I do not mean to insult anyone, but what I'm going to say, this is all based on my personal experience. So I've mentioned before in several of my messages before that I am currently recovering from being in a very long sustained abusive relationship. And as I've been talking to friends, family, colleagues about, what I experienced and, how I kind of got into that situation, the length of it, and also how in-depth that was. A lot of people have been surprised. And the reason why people get surprised is that you don't necessarily assume someone is in a bad relationship. They sort of say something, you go, oh, well, that's not great, but no one's relationship is great, and you kind of just sort of brush it off. But as I've been kind of talking to people about it and being more open, which is part of my own healing journey, is to talk it out, to explain what's happened, so I can come to terms with all the details of everything that happened to me. I've kind of been saying to people, about me taking responsibility for my part in it. And this has really been rubbing people up the wrong way. And people kind of, when they're talking to me about it, they're just like, but it's not your fault you were in an abusive relationship. You were not the abuser. You were a victim. And yes, that's true. I am a victim. I have been a victim of it. And it is something that I am struggling to work through at the moment. But when it comes to my own personal healing and my mindset of it all, I do feel the need to take a certain amount of responsibility for it, because when you are in an abusive situation, there are things that happen that your intuition goes, this isn't quite right, and you do brush it under the carpet and you go, oh, well, that's because of this, and you make excuses, and then things start to happen again. They intensify more, and you think, oh, well, if I dealt with this, then I can deal with that. It's not a problem. And you brush it under the carpet again, and that's how it starts to build. And when it comes to being in that sort of situation and you are in the thick of it, you don't necessarily realize exactly how bad things are and how bad are progressing until you suddenly look back and realize that all of your freedom's been taken away, that you are being controlled, that you are less of yourself as a person because of everything that you're going through. And when people look at that and they realize exactly, because on the outside I was happy, confident, successful, beautiful kids, supportive husband, and you don't necessarily realize exactly what's going on, and you hide a lot of it because deep down it's not right, and that's why you're hiding it, even though you won't admit it to yourself, then there is a certain amount of responsibility that I need to take on for that, because I did brush it aside. I did put up with it. I did feel that it was escalating, and I didn't do anything about it. And I'm not saying that it is easy to leave. I was in that relationship for 19 years. It's not easy to walk away from it by any means. But in order for me to move on, and in order for me to make sure that I'm not in that situation again, I do have to take responsibility for the fact that I had very little personal boundaries, and that when those boundaries were sort of stepped over, I allowed that to happen. I do need to take responsibility for the fact that I was unhappy, but I didn't say anything. And if I did say something, I didn't fight for it. And when I didn't fight for it and realised it wasn't going anywhere, I still stayed. And as hard as it is to admit, you do have to take responsibility for the things that have happened within your life to make sure that your future is not the same. And regardless of whether or not that's because you were in an abusive situation, and sometimes it is completely outside of your control, and a lot of this was outside of my control, but the ability to walk away was within my control. The ability to stand up and go, actually, no, this isn't right. The ability to communicate with other people and say, is this right? Because I don't think it is. I didn't. And when it comes to developing that positive mindset, that growth mindset, that ability to look at a situation and put a positive spin, it's not looking at it, it's not putting a positive spin on something that is truly wrong. And part of the healing process is learning to recognize that, and learning to recognize what is a obstacle for you to get over because it's a challenge and it helps you grow, to just being an out and outright wrong situation that actually should not be happening, and you should be redirecting yourself. So when I've been talking about this to clients and to friends and family, they've been very black and white with their opinions. And that's why I really wanted to share this with you, because it's not black and white. But in order to be able to grow, you do have to take responsibility of your own mindset. And my mindset, I allowed myself to be put into a victim mindset. And then I was the one that kept me there until I wasn't. Until I got fed up and I was just like, do you know what? Actually, I am done and I am doing this now. And I did find that strength to leave. And it took me a long time to find that strength to leave, but I did it. And now my mindset is, I am worth more than that situation. So my boundaries are better and I will not be in that situation again. And to have that growth and that to move into that more positive mindset, that growth mindset, to be able to start to bring in the life that you've always wished and dreamed of, you have to accept responsibility that your situations in the past could have been better. And instead of working from a place of angry and, wanting revenge on people, which I don't, that just keeps holding you back into that victim mindset, into that lack mindset, into that being that inability to move forward. And you hold yourself a mental prisoner, even though you've already escaped the situation. And this can apply to lots of different things and lots of different circumstances. But the only person that's holding you a prisoner to that history is you. Because when that situation has ended, that person's moved on. That person who did that to you doesn't care. So holding yourself into it, you're stopping yourself. I was stopping myself. I was allowing myself to stay in a situation that I knew was wrong because I didn't have the self-worth to move forward. And now I do. So it is not a very, what's the words I'm thinking of? It's not necessarily going to be an easy pill to swallow for a lot of people, and it certainly wasn't for me to learn that lesson, that I had to take responsibility for my own way of thinking. But in doing that, I've now started this business. I'm dealing with clients. I'm helping other people get through the situations that they've been, help them develop the mindsets that they need to move forward. Because I took responsibility for myself and my own mindset, so I could move forward and I could heal and I could start to create that life that I've always wanted. So my message today is really about us all taking a long, hard look at ourselves and the situations we've been in. And some parts of it are always going to be completely outside of your control. But some parts of it aren't. And sometimes we really need to be very honest with ourselves on what we could have done so we don't make those mistakes again, and that we can start to move forward and we can start to build that dream life that we've always wanted. So I hope that that's actually helped some people, and Obviously, it's never my intention to offend anyone. It's all based on my personal experience. But I will speak to you guys all soon, and I hope that it helped. Bye.